Heartsprinkle.
Hey everyone, it's Crystal and welcome back to Heartsprinkle. Today I wanted to show you guys the materials I'll be using for the Unicorn C2C Cal. If you guys would like to join us for this project, please join the Facebook group called Heartsprinkle Cal, which will be linked down below. All the information for the materials I'll be using will also be in the description. Here I have the graph already printed, but this will be available on May 7th, which is when the project will start for the whole group. It will be available on our group page and on my blog. The graph itself is free, but if you guys would like the PDF for the line by line and color count, that will be $2 and will be available on my website. Here I have my unicorn hook. It is an I 5.5 millimeter, which you can find on my website. I'm also using a pair of scissors, this darning needle, a special stitch marker. I call it my project saver. You can attach it to the last stitch on your project and turn these knobs to indicate what your last row was. I found it very helpful for my graph gans. I'll also be using a measuring tape to make sure I have an idea of how big my project will end up being. A stitch counter because I do multiple rows a day and this just helps me keep up with my rows. For the yarn, I'm using these called Bob Ease. They are actually cord organizers for cord jewelry making, but they're perfect for your yarn. This one is a 3.5 inch and this one is a 2 inch, I think. If you guys don't like using this, I have used Wonder Clips or Clip It from Hobby Lobby. I've also seen people use those really large clothespins. I'll have to show you guys in the link down below. I do not have any of those. I am using a Crafter's Secret acrylic worsted weight yarn, 7 ounces, 355 yards or 325 meters. This one is from Hobby Lobby. Now you don't have to get the same yarn as I have. You can get other brands like Red Heart or even the Joanns brands, whatever brand yarn you feel like using. The project is specifically made for worsted weight yarn. You can also use scrap yarn, especially for the background. I think that would turn out quite nicely. The colors I would suggest to keep is the unicorn and the hearts. I just wanted to show you guys how to use these. You start winding them up with your yarn in here, and I like to put more yarn than what it can hold because it's just better. You don't have to keep reattaching the yarn. So this is what it looks like. It keeps the yarn quite snug in there. And if you're going to use the Wonder Clips, I just suggest that you ball up the yarn and then you can either clip it like this because it'll stop it from going anywhere. So I just clip a chunk of the yarn like that. Or sometimes some people, I've seen them clip the actual yarn that's being used or the tail end like that. I've used it like this as well, and it ended up being fine just like that. All the information for this project will be in the group page, and while the cal is going on, it will be pinned to the top. I do get a lot of questions repeatedly throughout the day for the project. It will be in that pinned post. That way you guys don't have to surf through like the whole page trying to figure out the answer to your question, because if a question just keeps getting repeated, more than likely the admin will not answer your question. And I'm sorry about that, but we can only answer the question so many times before it's just repeating too much, and that's why I pinned it to the top. So the information will all be there pinned to the top during the cal, in the calendar when the cal is over. So now I wanted to show you guys the stitches I'll be using because I've modified the C2C stitch just a little bit. I don't like how the gap in between the squares is so big. To me it's too big. So I actually, instead of chaining 6, I chain 5. Okay? So the normal C2C, you chain 6. But with what I'll be doing, so you guys don't get confused throughout the videos, is this method, this modified method. So I chain 5, and in the 3rd stitch I do my double crochet, and then double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet in that very last stitch. That is your first square. If you have never done a C2C blanket before, it's literally you working from one corner of the blanket to the opposite corner. So we are starting here and we're working at an angle, and now we just did the first square. After that, we're going to chain 5 again, and normally a C2C is chain 6. So here in the 3rd chain from the hook, we're going to do our double crochet. Double crochet in the 2nd and double crochet in the last. Now we're going to slip stitch into this chain 2 space. Chain 2. 3 double crochets in the same chain 2 space. And you have made your 2nd row. To me, I like the chain 5 more than the chain 6 because it closes up that gap more. Now, it will look a little funny at first when you first start these first like 10 rows, but it does straighten out just like a normal C2C stitch. I'm just going to do the next row. So on this next row, I'm going to show you guys how I do the color change. I have just finished that square. Now I'm going to take my next color, make a slip knot, make it a little bit bigger than usual, just a little bit. I'm going to take that new color and slip stitch it into the old color there, and see how it has that chain. I like to pull tight and start doing my next square. And then continue. Okay, so this is what the color change looks like. I like to leave the tail there because sometimes I'll sew it closed more so it hides that change just a little bit more, but you can really just crochet on top of your tail all the way. Now sometimes I also like to leave a longer tail, that way it goes all the way and it has a harder time getting out, but most people just like to leave it and sew it in just a tad more. So I wanted to show you guys the modified stitch real quick, and I hope that was helpful. In the future videos you will be able to crochet along with me, but it will be sped up just a little bit and slowed down whenever I have some tips for you guys. I hope you will enjoy this project. Don't forget to join us on Facebook on Heartsprinkle Cal. It'll be linked down below, and if you share your project, please tag me and use hashtag HeartsprinkleCal. Thanks so much for checking it out, and I hope you enjoyed. See you guys next time. Bye.